Hi everyone, today we're looking at Thin Layer Chromatography, TLC. In particular, we're going to be using it to look at the photosynthetic pigments in basil. The first thing to do is to prepare our plant extract. We're using basil simply because it is easily available all year round and it works well. Tear or cut a couple of leaves into pieces and put into a mortar. Then grind with the pestle. Once you're happy, add a small amount of propanone, a milliliter or two is fine, and grind some more. You may need to add a little more propanone, but you want to make sure you have the minimum amount that actually still has some liquid in it. Next, we prepare the TLC plate. These are quite expensive, so we're going to cut it so we only use a section. You may also need to make sure it is cut to the right length, though in our case it's fine. Once we have our pieces, we're going to take one and draw a pencil line about 1 centimetre from the bottom. This is the start point. To add your sample, dip a capillary tube into the extract and apply a small blob, or a row of them as in this case, along the line. If the colour is still faint, you can let it dry and then apply further drops on top, but I think this one's okay. Now we need to make sure that the TLC plate is secured in place in its jar. We're using a rubber bung that has had a slit cut into the bottom. We squeeze the bung and slip the top of the plate into it. Next, we add a small amount of solvent into the bottom of the container, a milliliter or two should be plenty, and lower the TLC plate so that the bottom is just dipping into it. In this speeded up version, you can see the solvent moving up the plate and the different colours separating out. Once the solvent has reached near the top of the plate, remove it from the container and immediately mark the position of the solvent with a pencil. The reason for doing this immediately is that once it's dried you won't be able to see where it had reached. And the reason for doing it at all is that a characteristic feature of any pigment in a particular solvent is that it will always travel the same distance in relation to the solvent. You divide the distance to pigment travelled from the bottom by the distance to solvent travelled from the bottom, and this gives you a value called the RF value. You can look up RF values and use them to help you identify any pigments you can see.